everyone. Welcome to the Cynthia Linox Show. I am your host, Cynthia Linox. We are going to continue, or I am going to continue with this theme on sexual energy. The last 12 months, we spent time going through this journey of self discovery. And, most of you know, those of you that follow my show, that is a journey where we go back to remembering who we are, going back to our true, authentic self, so that we can discover our true identity and live our lives organically. Because if we don't do that, then by default, what happens is that the identity imposed upon us by society causes us to live a performative life. Performance based on rules, laws, regulations, traditional norms, conventional construct, indoctrination, and all of those things that's imposed upon us. We don't get a chance to be ourselves. Our emotions or thoughts or feelings are always suppressed by the collective, the norm, the social guidelines. And, we submit to that and we go through life not really being ourselves. So we have come to this place where we are now leveling up. We are leveling up to another part of this discovery. And I've been talking about sexual energy. I am fascinated with this subject simply because, when I say sexual energy, it's not just about sex, even though, newsflash, we are all here as a result of sex. But when I say sexual energy, understand this, my friend. Your sexual energy, it's like your spiritual voltage. It's like the force the current, if you will, that electrifies your power, your growth, your development, your creativity, your imagination. It's a force within you that once you become aware of it, you start thinking differently. You have a switch in mindset, and you start becoming more confident and more assertive because you will know the vibration that you are sending out based on your awareness of your sexuality. And the things that I share, you can, they're all clinically based and scientifically based. It's not just simply, my imaginations. No, you know it. As a matter of fact, I'm just reminding you of it because you know what your sexuality is like I mentioned a couple of weeks ago. You are not, your sexuality, sex is not a privilege. It is your birthright. You know it and I know it. And that's the thing about this show. And, the things that I talk about is that the things that I talk about, it's simply reminding you of what you really know. But in some cases, you are either afraid or ashamed to admit it or to say it or to voice it. But, when it comes to your sexuality, no one understands that it is private. It is personal. It is 100% you. It is totally you. And but once you become aware of the dynamics, the power of your sexuality, then you will definitely move in a different mindset. It takes a sense of maturity, refinement, and sophistication to really come to that place where you can embrace and embody the truth of it, the truth of yourself, the truth of your aliveness. When you come to that place where you own it and you embrace all of it, you'll come to see that all of it has to do with you, your growth, your development, your advancement, your understanding of better understanding of yourself. It all has to do with you. You'll come to that place where you understand that you don't need validation. You don't need approval. You don't need permission because you understand who you are and how you function. Brings you to that place of joy, peace, and contentment. You understand, you have a better understanding of yourself. You no longer looking outside, you begin to glow differently. You begin to understand your pleasures. You begin to understand your likes, your dislikes. It's interesting talking about likes and dislikes. And, I share with you all the time that you create the life that you want. You create life to live on your own terms. And you add definition to everything that concerns you. You don't have to wait or have to go look up to see what it means. No, this weekend, my husband and I, we went to do some shopping, and on the way back, we stopped at Nordstrom. And so I said, you know what I need, because I had been thinking that I want to create for myself, and these are the things that I share with you so that you can understand that, these little things you can change and switch up and do whatever, create your own. So I had been thinking that I want to create a signature fragrance for myself. I want to make sure that, I in the past, I've been, you wear different fragrance, the Gucci, Chanel, Estee Lauder, Yves Saint Laurent. You wear all of that. And, some days you smell this way, that way, the other. And, when somebody gives you perfume for, as a gift, and you wear it and so forth. But then I decided, you know what? No, I want something. And this I really kind of discovered about me as I went through my journey, or we're still going through this journey because we're discovering things about ourselves. But so I said I want to have a signature fragrance that's exclusively me. And when I say exclusively me, of course, is because we all have different body chemistry. So it doesn't matter how many people buy it; it's going to smell different on everyone. So we were going through, and so we stopped at the fragrance counter at Nordstrom, and the salesperson, she really understood the assignment, and I just love that because when you approach that situation, you have presence. And I said to her that I said I want something that is subtle and sensual, and something that is, again, subtle, not loud and not strong, just something that has presence. So she said, she asked me what brand, whatever, and so forth. And she said, well, we have this Chanel. No, I know I didn't want the Chanel. I didn't want to go back to Estee Lauder. I didn't want to go to Yves Saint Laurent or Gucci. I didn't want, those are like common for women. So she had all these, the little strip that they have. And she get, I don't know how many I, smell, and she gave me quite a few. And I kept saying, no, this is not it. And then I said to her, I don't like citrusy and I don't like flowery, flower scent. That's just not my personality. And I said, I need something woody. I need something earthy, something of the earth, something with character, something with sophistication and refined elegance. And that's how I described it to her. And that's how I described it to her. I said, I want something with refined elegance. And she kept trying and trying and trying. So I don't know how many, strips we went through of scents, smelling the different scents and whatever. And, they have a whole bunch. So I said, where's the men's fragrance? She said, you know what? Good idea. So she walks me over there, my husband and I, and I said, I'm looking for fragrance. It doesn't matter whether it's male or female, because who decides and who assigns? And one thing I came to understand or to learn, that there are fragrances that are unisex. I didn't know that. I don't know if you knew that, but there are fragrances that are unisex. I didn't really care at this point whether it was male or female, for men or for women or whatever. It didn't matter. I knew the scent that I wanted. So after going through a few strips again of, she would have me smell and I would be like, no, that's not it. And no, that's not it, and no, that's not it, and I just went through quite a few. And when she gave me one in particular, I had never heard of that uh, perfume before. I knew that it was. Because I said to her, I said, when I said I wanted something woody, earthy, it's either going to have, sandalwood or musk, oak wood, cedar wood, one of those wood, but, it's the blending of it that makes it distinct. I smelt that thing, and my husband is over there shopping and looking, looking at anyway, so I get him and sprayed something on him, and he likes it as well. But it was for me. So um I just knew that it was. I knew that I had found my signature fragrance. Look, it might seem insignificant, but for me, just like you will discover things for you, add meaning to it. Give it a definition. Make it meaningful to you. And this way you start, as I always say, living your life intentionally, deliberately, and not just going through, because, we're in this season, I call it the savage season. And this is the season where we really show up in our fullness with full confidence, and we take up all the space that we need to. We build the table so we don't have to bring something to the table. We build the table, and we are the one that serve the meal. So I found it. And so I said to her, I said, of course there are two sizes, and I told her the one that I wanted, and she rung it up, and my husband is like, well, I guess this is just for very special occasion, and I said yeah, and so forth. Anyway, so we came away, and I was just happy that I found what I believe is my signature fragrance. And then when I came home, I was thinking, it's like, why is this just for special occasion? Is it because how much it costs? And I thought, every day for me is a special occasion. So I decided that I would wear that. I would spray myself whenever I want to. And if it works for me, because I want to really make sure that it works for me, so I'll wear it and so forth, and I'll use it whenever, and then I will determine if that's it. I believe it is, because every day it smells so good. But the thing is this: first of all, my husband, he said that's just for very special occasion. It's going to last you a long time. And I just decided, no, I will just, spray that perfume whenever I feel like it. And when I use it up, then I'll just buy another one. It's like changing your mindset. You want to, changing your mindset. Well, every day is a special occasion. And I share that with you so that you can think the same way. Every day is a special occasion. So for me, the point is, here I am creating a whole new fragrance for myself. Do you know how that makes me feel? Do you know how that makes me feel? That makes me feel special. It makes me, and my husband loves it on me. And mind you, I bought that in the men's fragrance area. And whether that was unisex or not, I don't know, but that doesn't matter, because I knew what I wanted. For some reason, you come to a place where you know what you want. And I knew that I'm not a citrusy, kind of sweet smelling, flowery type person, fruit smelling fragrance. That's just not me. It doesn't match my personality. I know that I am grounded in the earth. I need something earthy, woody, and come to find out, musk is the wood that I vibrate with. That's the energy that I project. It's musky, it's woody, and that's something I discover about myself, and I am totally fascinated. I am saying that to say this: you go through life, my friend, and you discover, and when I talk about sexual energy, and I said that it's your spiritual voltage. I also said that it's the current that electrifies your power, your creativity, your imagination. It is the power, it is the fuel that pushes those, your imagination, your thoughts, your creativity. It pushes it out. And first of all, I discovered the fragrance that I wanted that works for me. And then another thing, when my husband said that's just for very special occasion, that's because it's very expensive, but that's besides the point. I'm like, special occasion, every day is a special occasion, because let me tell you, if I die tomorrow, somebody is getting that bottle of perfume. So I have to enjoy every single day. So I'm like, wait a minute, no. We didn't even have this discussion, because, certain things it's not necessary to go back and settle. I just, wear the perfume whenever I want to, and really enjoy it, and smell myself and feel so alive and well and empowered and owning all of me, owning myself. And guess what happened? It comes to do with your mindset as well, in terms of your fluidity of abundance and prosperity, because I'm thinking, when it's finished, I will just buy another bottle. Why would you think you don't want it to finish in a month because you're going to have to spend X amount of dollars to buy another one? No, you are thinking up, you're leveling up your thinking, and you're thinking, okay, I can do this. I'm going to do this now, and there will be more than enough supply to provide another bottle of perfume regardless. You see, where you're leveling up. Remember, your spiritual voltage. I'm talking about your sexual energy. And when you are so aware of it, you don't even realize how it's moving you, and how it's influencing your creativity and your confidence and your sense of awareness, your assertiveness. All of these things, my friend. That's why it is so important that you know who you are, and start creating or discovering that identity that is truly you, so that you can move authentically and live organically. And with that, just comes a sense of freedom, a sense of owning who you are. It's fantastic. I'm telling you, your sexual energy, that's why you cannot, we've been so hindered by, or so stifled, I guess, by taboos and traditional norms, and all these teachings, that sex is bad, it's dirty, it's wrong, and all of that. And again, newsflash, we're all here as a result of sex. So don't beat up on yourself. Don't, know that it's not, your sexual energy has to do with sex, but it's not just about sex. It's about the energy that, your creativity, you being sensual. Those of you that are single and that are hoping to, to meet someone, to share your life with someone, or whatever, friendship, relationship, whatever it is, that is the energy that attracts. That is the energy that attracts. I'm telling you, it is high voltage. It is high voltage. Once you understand your sexuality, and that's not just women, that's male and female. And it's not, once you have a balance, not to be critical or overindulge, whatever. Once you have a balance, and again, you determine what balance is for you, not society, not you determine what's a balance for you. And when I talk about sex, you already know it's whether you have a partner or you fly solo. It is your sex. We all have sexual energy. And once you become aware, you become unfiltered, unstoppable, untamed. You become electromagnetic. You become so aware that the confidence, when we were at the store, the salesperson, first of all, when I approached the women's counter fragrance department, it's huge and they have a whole bunch of different fragrances. I wasn't sure that I wanted her to help me. Because well, first of all, I didn't know that she worked there. Seems like she was, outside of the counter and busybody looking around and so forth. And then I went and I start testing, and then she approached me and so forth. And I'm so glad that she did. You know why? Because first of all, it's the vibration that you send out. It's the energy, and it just really connects with the right person. Why? Because my whole uh, vibes knew what I want. So I got connected with the right person. And when I said, after sampling all these little fragrances and so forth, and I kept just saying no, no, she did not become like tired or irritated. She understood the assignment. She knew that I knew what I wanted. And then I said, where's the men's fragrance? And she said, you know what? That's a good idea. And so we march over there and we start testing all the different fragrances for men. But because I had described to her what I wanted, woody, and I just let woody, it has to be either musk, sandalwood, cedar, oak, whatever, but something earthy, with refined elegance, sophistication. She understood the assignment, and she had me, test a whole bunch, and when I got that one, but see, I said it's the current that electrifies your power, your creativity. That's why never say you don't have, you can't, you won't, you shouldn't, you couldn't. No, always think of it possible. And you know what? It's interesting because I knew that I wanted to do that. That's something that I wanted to do for me, create a new fragrance that's distinguished, that's exclusive for me. But it's not something that I even thought about doing. First of all, I thought I would do it by myself and not with my husband, simply because, I just knew that it would take time. But, when we were shopping, he's pretty patient. He is patient, and he goes along and helps me out. And when I say help me out, I mean, he, like I would say, smell this, what do you think, and whatever. But it didn't, at this point, when I discovered that's the one that I like, it didn't matter what his opinion was, simply because, when you apply, fragrance, it takes a while before it, sets into your body. And then of course it blends with your body oil and things like that. So, but again, the current that electrifies your power is your sexual energy. Once you become aware of that, once you become conscious that there is a power behind your whole existence, you can own it. It brings you into a place of freedom. It brings you into a place of freedom and ownership of who you are, of your aliveness, of your vitality. Makes you feel vibrant and exuberant and hopeful, with expectations for good, for fun, for pleasure, life favoring you in everything that you do. It helps you to grow, become transparent, set boundaries, keep an open mind, learn new things, It gives you the strength to get rid of things that no longer serve you. Even thoughts. There are thoughts that no longer serve you. You need to get rid of it, my friend. And you are. That's why you're watching this show. You're listening. You're watching the show. Because you are. It's all about you. And sexual energy, as I mentioned, it is your creative power. It is the force that brings life. It creates in your life. That's why you have to understand and respect it, your body, and know that whatever sexual activity that you engage in, you always respect your body to begin with. You respect your body and you honor your body, whatever that means to you. Nobody dictates what that means to you. You determine what that means to you. You see how this whole journey of self-discovery, you come into this place of confidence that's unbridled. You come into this place of assuredness. You come into this place of unapologetic meanness. mean. I just coined that word. It fuels confidence and charisma. Pay attention, my friend, because you know what's interesting is that you have all the tools. Everything that you need in life, it's already within you. Everything that you need in life. That's why once you understand how that works, once you understand that you carry the force, the life force to create, then you will know that you can create anything that you desire. You don't have to go begging. You don't have to go wishing and hoping and so forth. No, you create, you determine how you're going to do that by the law of assumption, by the law of attraction, whatever it is. And don't even call it a law. Just, there are people that go through mantras every day and they do mantra, but their lives continue the same. When you do that, then you must understand that that mantra is not serving you. It's not the mantra. It's the vibration, the feeling, the thought and the feeling that goes with it. If I say, if I wake up and I say, well, today's going to be a good day and that's it. If I just say that, it means nothing because your whole system, your subconscious, they get a message. The message that they get, they don't understand that your subconscious mind does not understand whether it's real or imaginary. So it produces for you as it receives the message. So if you just say, well, today I'm going to have a good day, everything is going to be all right. Yeah. And that's it. Those are words, but when I get up or, before I get up, actually, I, in my mind, determine today is going to be a phenomenal day. Things are going to go well. I'm going to see favorable opportunities, situations, circumstances. Every phone call I make, it's going to be productive, with much clarity, understanding, favor, and so forth. And I really believe that. And not only that, like this morning I had to make a business call and I called and the person was so nice. Well, yeah, I expected that. And we had a conversation and I needed to make sure that there was some clarity. I said, well, when can I expect to hear from you again? And then she mentioned it. I said, I just need to know so that I don't have to call you. And she said, no, we're good. She said, you'll hear from me by the end of the week and so forth. And so there was clarity, but it was such a great conversation because To show kindness, it just does something to one's soul, if you will. I was kind to her. She was kind to me. I got what I wanted. She had the information I needed, and it was just great. But when I got up this morning, I said, "This day is going to be a phenomenal day. It's going to be a phenomenal day. I'll be able to get the things done that I need done." And my deliveries are going to show up today. And it's an anticipation, and it's my thought and my feelings and my emotions of joy that is sending a message to my subconscious mind, and it goes out and vibrates and create the thing that I desire. It's no different with you, my friend. It is the same with you. You have the power to create. And one of that thing that you need to understand is your sexual energy. Now, I know that you've heard about that before, but perhaps you hadn't paid attention. Well, to tell you the truth, in terms of sexual energy, that's something that I kind of research and discovered. Now, I know that I'm by nature a passionate person, and I understand the laws of words, desires, and mainly words, because words are more powerful even than your thought. Because when you speak words, you are sending it out in the universe, and it's vibrating to create. So when you say things like I know this person, you would say, how is it going? And they would say, oh, just here surviving, and that's what it looks like all the time, surviving. If that's what you're sending out, then that's what everything will be limited. Everything will be limited to survival mode. If you ask me how I'm doing, I'm going to say I am thriving. I am flourishing. I am doing great. But I mean that. I'm not just saying that. I mean that. And I continue to say that all the time. All the time. And so that's what I am vibrating, and that's what I am attracting. And once you understand that, my friend, you'll see how you start creating situations in your life and opportunities and doors to be open, and your confidence building, and whatever it is that you desire, whatever it is that you need, but all of it has to do with you and your understanding of who you are and the sexual energy and what it does. Your sexual energy. Don't let anyone take that away from you, because it's you. It's like your I said your spiritual voltage. It's yours, and you can. When they have to do a shock to bring somebody back to life, it's like current that they're doing it to their hearts. So imagine that your spiritual voltage that it's like a current that electrifies your power to create, to grow, to level up, to become aware, of truth. Because once you know the truth and you apply the truth, it is that truth that sets you free. It is that truth that will bring freedom to your mind, your soul, your heart, your spirit, your whole being. Once you know that truth. So think of your sexual energy as a, what does it call it? Power generator. When you need to generate power for something. But you see, once you become aware of it, and you're conscious of it, you will begin to flow in that vein, It will be natural. In your mind, you will know, of course I can do that. Of course I can get that. Of course I can buy that. Of course I can be healed. Of course this can happen. Of course I can travel and go wherever. Of course I can do this. Of course I can do that. Your life become, just of course. Of course I can. Yeah, of course I can. I can do that. It becomes where you're no longer uh hesitant, afraid to say because you're not sure, because you're not sure. It's like people that you would say something and they said, oh yes, God willing, and they're not sure. They're not sure. If you believe in a God, you have to know that God is willing. Not, if it's God's will. That's just delegating your whole ability to create to God. When you are equipped with the amount of voltage you need to create whatever it is that you need or want, desire. It's within you. You have it. You just have to know that it's there. And once you start figuring it out that it's there, then you start using it. You'll see you'll start thinking differently. You'll start thinking differently and become aware of things that probably did not even cross your mind. And even in terms of taking care of yourself, you will start because all of this has to do with you. It all has to do with you, my friend. It's you. This is all about you. And once you start thinking in those terms, then you will start looking at the different areas of your life. If it's your health, you may say, well, you know what? I need to start walking some more, or I need to start going to the gym, or I need to change my diet, my nutrition, the way I consume things. You'll start looking at you'll start doing stuff to benefit yourself. And that is okay. That is a you thing. You will start doing things to please yourself, things that you want, things that you desire. You will understand that the energy behind that is your sexual energy. It is your sexual energy. Undeniably, your sexual energy. You have to get rid of all this shame and judgment and criticism and all the things that you've been taught about sex, that it's dirty, it's no good, that it's only reserved for those that are married, and that sex outside of marriage is for all that sex is sin. You need to get rid of all of it, because those laws, rules, and regulations no longer serve you. Now, if you're following a certain doctrine, then this may not work for you. But if you understand yourself, if you understand the dynamics of self, then you will know that sexual energy is what fuels you. And once you start thinking about it, once you become aware that you have this voltage on the inside to create, then you will become conscious and move in that vein. You want a promotion? Then you start, again, you go to the vault, not the vault, but you just go to the generator, I guess, and you create. Whatever that means to you. See, the thing is this: once you discover who you are, understand that everything around you, every thought, every material object, everything around you is someone else's idea. Every definition of a word is someone else's idea. We have these slangs that that emerges in our society. Like if I say, "Oh boy, that's dope," well, today, if I say that's dope, that means that looks beautiful. But dope has another definition. It also means substance. But you see, we assign meaning. You assign meaning to things. You are the one that assign meaning to things. So take the liberty when it has to do with you. Take the liberty. You determine. And if you don't, you know what's happening? You are living by someone else's script. I talk about that all the time. You don't want to live by someone else's script because what? Someone else created it for you and you are following someone else's script. You are living your life. You are conducting the things that you do based on someone's idea. Now, if I say something like gaslighting or ghost me, who created those words and added meaning? If I say now, don't ghost me, it's like I always say, my show is at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time every Thursday, and we meet right here. And if I say now, don't ghost me, you know what that means. That means don't leave me stranded. Don't leave me standing by myself, not show up. But you see, we assign a meaning to that slang. It's a slang. I could have said, now don't leave me standing by myself, or don't leave me, don't not show up and leave me there by myself. No, I'd just say, don't ghost me. Or, if there's a situation and you're trying to flip things around, if we have this conversation or this discussion or argument, whatever, and I could say, well, you're gaslighting me. We assign meaning to these words. First of all, we create these words and then we assign meaning. My friend, you can do the same. Why not? Whatever applies to you. Whatever applies to you is like me saying, I need something woody, earthy, something earthy, something, and I call it refined elegance. I said something sophisticated. And those are the words that I use to describe to this salesperson for the fragrance that I was looking for. Now, how did I know it existed? How do I know that fragrance that I bought is exactly the way I described it? Why? Because I give myself the freedom, the ability, and the right to call it that. To me, that's what it means. And that's all that's important. Because I'm not about to share this fragrance with someone else. Of course, if somebody comes to the house and they want a sprit, then that's fine. But I'm not about to go through. I'm just sharing this with you so that you can see and understand the dynamics of it. And know that you can create for yourself. Create the things you want. Now that you are coming into this place of knowing, leveling up, knowing who you are, and shaping your life to live it on your own terms, unapologetically. We're in this season of savage season. We are in our savage season, and for me, again, that is my definition of this season, where I decide, where I simply don't care, of criticism, of judgment, of any kind of things like that. Not even if somebody likes me or not. If they do, great. If they don't, it's the same. I call it my savage season. You can name your season whatever you want. It is your season. Wherever you're at, whatever place you're at in your mind, you can name it. For me, it was just that worked for me simply because I am approaching this season with fierce determination, fierce determination in every area of my life. Fierce determination for the things I want, the relationships I want, and it's a sense, it's a sense of maturity, my friend. It's a sense of maturity, refined sophistication. It's a sense of maturity, that we can talk about these things and talk about sexual energy, but you must understand that not only does it expand your awareness, but it also brings you to a place of emotional intelligence. It strengthens you to deal with situations, life situations, and it teaches you how to, or makes you aware of how your words, how creative they are and how powerful they are, and how you should use wisdom and understanding when you speak those words, and know that they carry power. Words are powerful. But most of all, when I talk about, oh, this is just so fascinating to me to know that I can create and name and define the things that I want for my life. And they pretty much come to pass. They realize. And I've been doing this for the longest time. It's just now that I am putting words to it now that I share with you, and I'm telling you, like, you don't have to call your season the savage season. That just works for me because I am of a certain fiber, if you will. And that works for me when I say this is my savage season. And people can interpret that in many different ways, but that's not important. What's important is how I see it and how I see myself, and the understanding and the knowledge that my sexual energy is where the my voltage reside, that it produces. It's my spiritual voltage. And now that I am so aware of that, my creative force is just, because I am now in that place where I am so convinced. Before was an understanding of, I know the power of words. Just like I mentioned a few times, I've studied the power of the mind, and I understand how it works. And I understand how, your thoughts, your feelings, your emotion, and then your habits, your behavior, your actions. I understand that. And I've been functioning from that standpoint, and it's worked throughout my whole life. And I'm unapologetic about it. Life works for you when you understand how it works. Life will work for you when you understand how it works. It's not a matter of how much money you have, how many friends you have, or uh, your title, your job, labels. None of that. None of that. It has nothing to do with title, label, or no. It's the understanding of yourself and your power. Your power. It is your inner electricity. What happens when you charge your phone? What happens when you charge your phone? When you plug your phone into the charger to charge, it charges up. I like when my phone is like at 100% or 90 something. I don't like it to be low battery. And that's the same with me. I like to be at 100%. Your sexual energy is your electricity. And it comes with a high voltage, produces current that electrifies the power you need to grow, to create, to imagine, to develop, to level up. It produces the power to bring you at 100%, my friend. The power to bring you at 100%, just like your phone. The power to bring you at 100%. But once you understand that, then you will start vibrating with that energy, that understanding. You vibrating deliberately, and not just, a lot of our lives, we just live like on default, by default. Que será, on autopilot. We do this, we do that, we do this, we do that. And you really don't take, stock, mindfulness into the different things that you do. But once we start paying attention, and we start with ourselves, once we start paying attention to the things that we do, and add meaning to it. My husband and I, we went out to dinner over the weekend, and we were seated, and this restaurant, as a matter of fact, we said, wow, we didn't make a reservations, and sometimes they get so full that but we knew that we would get seated, because we've been there before, and we met the manager, what's his name, Michael, and Michael was he was always favorable toward us. So anyway, we got there, we didn't have a reservation, they seated us at a place we were happy with, and so forth, and then our waiter came, John, and he was just so kind. When a waiter shows up at our table, whenever we're out, first impression for us is like, okay, this guy, we already calibrate in our mind, this guy's going to get a good tip, he's going to get a great tip, blah, 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 or at least he started out good. First impression, that always gives you kind of a clue. And John showed up, and he said, hi. He says, I'll be your server tonight. My name is John. And he says, and what are you celebrating tonight? You just saw we were. And so they always ask that, you know that. And he said that, well, my husband, he said, we're just celebrating life. And John was like, oh, wow, damn. Well, he didn't say damn, but he's like, I like that. For him, it was like something new, I guess. But my husband said life. And then I said, yeah, we are celebrating life. And he said, wow. He said, I like that. And then he went into, we were like, glass of Cabernet Sauvignon and so forth. But we were celebrating life. We added, we just went out to dinner. I mean, that's not new. And we added meaning to the occasion. We added meaning to the occasion. And we didn't think of it that way. We knew, we got there. It's a nice ambiance. My husband knows that I like a nice ambiance, and always a glass of wine, and just to be together and just have an evening celebrating just us. Nothing like, just us. And then comes John, and he asked, so, what are you guys celebrating? No, he said, what are you celebrating tonight? Evidently, he just thought we were celebrating something. And then, my husband's like, life. Add meaning to every, I am sharing this with you because, first of all, I get excited because I'm really into this living purposefully and living. I don't want to go through, I'm not chasing anything. I'm not striving for anything. I'm just, make a decision and make it happen. I am not grasping for anything. I'm not begging. I'm not knocking. No, no, no. I'm just living, protecting my peace and protecting my joy. But I come across so many people that are on a downward spiral, and it's quite sad. I can't fix that, but if I can come here and share some things with you and make you aware that you've got everything that it takes, because you've got power, electrical voltage to move your life forward, that you have it within you, then that makes me happy that I can share that with you. And when you embody that, when you begin to own that, when you begin to embrace all of you with the understanding, but one of the things that you've got to make sure is that you get rid of all the things, all the thoughts, all the beliefs, all of the stuff that no longer serves you. If it's not serving you now, then it no longer serves you. Whatever it is, cliches, taboos, all of that, just get rid of it. And be bold enough to, begin to shed. It all depends on where you want to go in life, where you want to go, what level you want to get. And it all has to do with you. Doesn't have to do with your children or with your grandchildren. If somebody asks you about you, it's about you. It's not about your children, because some people I find are living their lives through their children and their grandchildren. And these folks, they grow up and they have a life of their own. They have a life of their own. So don't get this lady here. She was complaining that, they no longer care and so forth. Why? Because, or I get the impression that she wants to become a, I don't know, codependent on the kids, whatever. But the kids have their lives. So you have to have your own life. Let it be about you and embrace all of you. Embrace all of you and own what's yours, because you have all the voltage that you need in order to produce, in order to create, in order to level up and move forward. My friend, I'm going to leave you with that so that you can sup on it and meditate. Every Thursday, we have a date right here, unless you ghost me. Every Thursday, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, we meet right here. And if you cannot tune in to the show at that time, you see these icons here: Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. You can pick up the show 24/7 and enjoy it. I am also a life coach. Drop me a note. You see the email address there. It says info@thecynthialinoxshow.com. And you can send me an email. I also offer a 30-minute complimentary chat. If you are looking for someone to walk alongside you, to really, if you want to make an investment in yourself in order to get to that place where you can navigate life on your own, and you need some support and guidance and so forth, I'm your girl. info@thecynthialinoxshow.com, and we will chat and see how that energy flows between us. In the meantime, I'm going to say ta-ta. The weekend is upon us. We are now in October, and just give it another a couple more months and we will be celebrating the new year. So it's interesting how all that happens. Anyway, I will see you next week and see you. I will be with you. You will see me next week, same time, same place. On the Cynthia Linox Show. Ciao, amigos, and enjoy a phenomenal week. Ciao.